What is up, guys? I know you missed me last week. No videos from me, unless you're in one of my other classes, in which case you did get a video. Didn't Mr. Chang and Miss Reed do an awesome job? They're great. Give them a round of applause. But anyway, back to me this week. The nice thing is the first lesson this week is essentially the same as the last lesson last week. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using law of sines and law of cosines. Not just to find sides and angles, but we're going to do it to actually solve triangles. And what I mean by solve triangles is to find all of the missing pieces. So we're going to switch over to the visualizer so you guys can see my work. And then we're going to jump right into it. All right. So notice in this problem, they didn't draw out a picture. They gave us A values, and they gave us our uppercase A values and lowercase a values. In case you don't remember, almost always, it depends on the textbook, but the uppercase letters represent angles. So I'm just going to draw out an arbitrary triangle. Now again, this is completely arbitrary. The sides are not going to be to scale. Don't be freaked out if your sides aren't to scale, because your triangle doesn't have to look like mine. You can just draw it however you would like. It's just strictly for labeling. So we have A, B, and C. So angle A, we have 25. Angle B, we don't know. I'm going to leave that blank. Angle C, we also do not know. We're going to leave it blank. Notice here we're given side A. Side A is the side across from A. So that's going to be 11, right? Across from A, little a. Little b, or lowercase b, is 14. So that's going to be across from B here. And then C, we don't know. I'm also going to be leaving it blank. So normally, in my class, the way we do this is we determine, when we look at a problem like this, do we need to use the law of sines or the law of cosines? And I watched Mr. Chang's video. He does a very similar way. We know we can use the law of sines when we know an angle and the side across from it. If you know this information, you can very easily set up the ratio for law of sines. So if you have this angle and a side across, you can use the law of sines. And we like being able to use the law of sines. In some cases, you can choose, and that's really up to you, but as your friend and educator, I would like you guys to know that law of sines I prefer. So the way the law of sines is set up is it's a ratio. And what we do is we take the side, for example, I'm using the A's here, right? So this side is going to have to deal with the A's. So I take the side as on top, and then it's sine of the angle in the denominator. Boom. Because remember, if you have a trigonometric ratio like sine, the angle always goes inside there. Now, we need to set up the other side of law of sines. The way we do that is we utilize the other piece of information we're given. We're given side little case b, so it might be easier to find angle b. The reason why that's important is now I know 14 is going to go in the numerator here, but in the denominator I'm just going to make it sine, and I'm going to make it uppercase b. So again, law of sines, super easy. Side divided by sine of angle across, side divided by angle across. So let's dive right into this. This we cross multiply. This becomes 11 sine b. Oh, sorry, I'm going to rewrite that. 11 sine of b is equal to 14 sine of 25. Right? Easy enough. We just cross multiply. We divide both sides by 11, because again, we're trying to isolate b here. And we get sine of b equals 14 sine 25 divided by 11. Now again, we're trying to get b by itself, and we still do not have b by itself. A lot of people here want to divide by sine. You cannot do that. Sine is an operation. We need to undo sine. The way we undo sine is we use sine inverse. So I'm taking sine inverse of both sides. Right? This allows me to cancel out sine and gives me b is equal to sine inverse of 14 sine 25 all over 11. So now what we got to do is now we can figure out what this angle is going to be. So you're going to grab your calculator, or you can use a online calculator, but we have that in our resource folder if you forgot. And if you're not in my class, or if you're in Mr. Chang's class, I'm sure he did the same thing, and I'm sure Ms. Rigi has a very similar resource. But make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Since we're using degrees here, 25 degrees, we want to make sure we're in that mode. So I'm going to make sure I show you guys the proper syntax here. Second sine of 14 sine 25 divided by 11. And then I close off that bracket there. Boom. And we see our answer is 32.5. And depending upon what the instructions say, I just like having that one extra decimal place, just so it makes it a little bit more accurate. So I'm writing my b value down here. I'm also writing it in this little grid up here, just so it helps me stay organized. And I'm actually going to write it inside of, put it right inside of my triangle, so I know what I'm trying to find. So we use law of sines to figure out how we can find a missing angle in the triangle. But we still have more work to do here. That's really just last week, right? What we're adding to this is we're going to need to find another side and another angle. Now, this is different based upon each triangle we work with, but if we know two angles of a triangle, this is always true. If we know two angles of a triangle, we know we can find the third one. Remember, all angles in a triangle have to add up to be 180 degrees. So if I know one is 32.5 and I know the other is 25, I'm going to call this C because that's angle C. All I have to do is subtract 32.5 and subtract 25. Right? And that we can do in our calculator or do in our heads, depending upon how confident we are. But we should be able to do that in our heads. And for those of you who are using the calculator, that's all right. It's going to be negative 122, sorry, positive 122.5. I don't know why I was thinking negative. Probably those two negatives right there is our C value. We just subtract those from there, and we get 122.5. Anytime you know two angles in a triangle, man, I'm off today, guys. Anytime we know two angles in a triangle, find the third one. Very easy, right? But we're still missing a side. Now, sadly, there is no shortcut for finding missing sides when you know two of them, unless it's a right triangle. So what we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to use law of sines again. We have our first one. We know 22 and 11. It's the same as the exact ratio we did before. Right, remember before, we set up that ratio just like this, right? Same thing on this side. This is still angle A. Whatever they give you, use that to start. For our second one, now we're working with C. We need to work with C. So we have sine. Let's see what we know about C. We know angle C, right? And we don't know its side. So I can set up, I know the angle is 122.5. And I know my C value. Well, I don't know my C value, but I'm just going to call it C. Right? We use law of sines twice here. Once you know a side, if you know a side and an angle across, we can use law of sines. So at this point, we can cross multiply, just like before. 11 sine 122.5 equals C sine of 25. We divide both sides by sine of 25. And now we have just C. Notice for this example, we didn't have to use sine inverse because we're not finding an angle. If you're not trying to get rid of sine, just, trying to remove sine from a problem, all you got to do is use the inverse. If we're trying to solve for a side, all we need to do is divide by that ratio. So now I'm going to show you guys how we put this into our calculator, just so we don't screw up the syntax. 11 sine 122.5 divided by sine 25. And again, make sure you're in degree mode. Boom, we get 21.95, which I'm just going to bump up to be 22.0 because we round here, that rounds up again. Boom. So now I know my missing side. I'm going to write that in my triangle. 22.5. Or sorry, not 22.5, 22.0 and 22.0. So just to kind of look at this problem in totality, first thing you got to do, figure out if you're using law of sine or cosine. If you're, in this case, we use law of sine. We apply the rule, isolate sine, and here we can solve for one of the missing pieces. And then once you have that missing piece, the nice thing is the second time you can always use law of sine. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we do one of these using law of cosine. And then we'll show kind of the reason why it's so important to be able to solve for oblique triangles. So make sure you watch the second video after this. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you guys shortly.